All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this afternoon's AGS Prime webinar on the AGS product showcase for the pre-built Strengthening Community Colleges data management and reporting system. So thanks everybody for being here. This session is being recorded and it'll be available for email afterwards. One quick piece of housekeeping here. This is a live session. Feel free to chat. Use the chat feature. John Hawkins is here and he'll be monitoring chat along with me. So we'll get to introductions in just a second. Also in the go-to training control panel, the very short slide deck that we'll be running through today, because most of today is going to be on a live demo, but the slide deck is there for you as a PDF available for handout. If you don't want to go ahead and download that now, don't worry about it. That will also be emailed automatically to you after today's session, just so you have that as a handout. So without further ado, my name is Susan Harden here with AGS, and I'll be one of your presenters. I'm joined with my lovely colleague, John Hawkins. John, you want to say hello?
Thanks for joining us today, everybody.
Here's our contact information. This will be available again at the end of the session. And also, as I said, also emailed out to everybody afterwards if you want to get in touch with either one of us. So today's session is going to largely be focused on a live demo of AGS Prime. And we're going to focus on the 4 things that we talked about in the email invite. We're going to focus on reporting, WIPS, right? Reports. That's why people really come to us for helping to manage these federal grants. We're going to take some time to, sort of jog through the application so you can see what it looks like. Everybody has seen forms and fields before. I want you to make sure you come away from today's session with a visceral feel of what this system looks like. And hopefully you'll see it's very intuitive, very easy to use, and can literally click the magic button to produce WIPS reports and other types of outputs that we know you are needing to and wanting to manage. And before we do all that, I want to spend just a couple of minutes just laying a little bit of groundwork. Believe me, if you're anything like me, I hate coming to these kinds of sessions and be tricked into a bunch of slides about anything but what you thought you were going to come here for, which is to look at a product. But I do want to spend just a couple of minutes providing a little bit of a background or an overview about AGS and who we are and what we do. So if you'll permit me just a couple of minutes, AGS, or American Government Services, is a national leader with commercial software development tools, primarily focused around supporting web-based data collection and management systems for grants. Some logos of some of the dozen or so federal grants that we support. We're 25 years in business, supporting a wide variety of grants from Department of Labor, Department of Commerce, like Good Jobs Challenge as an example, Department of Education with Title III projects, and many, many other grants. We are very much, for those of you who are here looking at a DOL application, we are very much Pearl subject matter experts. And by now you are probably all intimately familiar with what the Pearl is and how that is used for WIPS reporting for most DOL grants, certainly for SCC. Picture being worth 1,000 words, sample of some of the organizations that we support with SCC in particular. And we're currently supporting 200 plus organizations, managing millions of participant records and their grant enrollments, their training programs, their services provided, attachments and case notes and employment and credentials and measurable skills gains, all those things that we know we need to be tracking and therefore reporting not only to WIPS, but for the kind of internal reporting that you want to be able to to use for your own analytics. We work with community colleges, universities, lots of workforce agencies, training organizations, foundations, etc., etc. So we are not new to chasing DOL grants. We have been around the block for many, many years. We are well known at DOL for helping to support these kinds of programs. So just a little bit of a background. Just wanted to take those few minutes. So thank you for that indulgence and for giving me the opportunity to give you just a little bit of a background about AGS. Later, John will provide some additional information about AGS as a platform and talk a little bit about some of the support that we bring to our customers. So next, as promised, we're going to dive right over into AGS Prime for this grant and jog through this SCC application. Now, while I do that, this is a pre-built turnkey back up the bus, if you will, application database, if you want to think about it, that's a word that speaks to you, that is completely web-based. It's completely built using a generic case management business process, with registration or intake, if you will, depending on how you think about it, program enrollment, training programs, training classes, all those things that I just mentioned, kind of walking through that data entry process that's comfortable and known for case management. We also include a self-registration model where most of our customers are managing that potential participant pool through self-registration, exposing self-registration form for that initial demographic data entry. So what you are seeing here, we'll walk through some of this, is exactly what our SCC customers' sites look like. I'm in my demo domain, so we only have demo data here, so I can show you everything. But just looking at this menu across the top, we have a participant management module where all of the participant data resides, our employer management module, a built-in CRM for managing your employer profiles and contacts and activities and outreach. A self-registration module, an administrative module where you as the application administrator can manage some configuration control around drop-downs and keywords and tables in the system in a completely no-code environment. So it's really easy to do that. And then, of course, reports. So let me click over here on reports. We'll start here as promised. So what you're seeing here is a list of a couple of different types of reports that we always provide with our pre-built templates. When I click on reports, I see a series of pre-built, parameterized, pretty, if you will, canned reports that you expect. And then we see a series of queries. We give you a data download and export, if you will, to CSV files for every field from every form. And then a handful of dashboards. We'll come back to those in a moment. Back to reports. I want to start with, of all of these reports, the WIPS file, your QPR, a performance outcome measures report for SCC. The CSV file is the only report that is federally required. The other reports that are here, we provide for you as project managers and grant managers wanting to be able to stay on top of your data. So I'm going to go ahead and run this WIPS report first so you can see exactly what it looks like to run a WIPS report in Prime and what all of our customers' sites look like when they use Prime for their SCC grant. We pop up this dialog box. I'm in my demo system, so forgive me. I'm going to select SCC round 4. We're going to select your calendar year, 2024. I'm going to go ahead and select Q4 just for demo purposes. We do give you the ability to include a header for your own internal analytics. Now we know when you run this report to send off to WIPS, it defaults to no because you should never send a WIPS report off with a header. But because WIPS data is great data, we want to give you headers so you can use the data for your own internal purposes. But for today, I'm going to say yes, include the header so you can see the header. I'm sure by now you're familiar with WIPS, so I want you to see that we have all those fields there. We have a built-in final error checking report. We have data validation and business rule validation built in on a field-to-field basis throughout the application, which I'll show you in a minute. But there are a handful of WIPS fields that you know are not one-to-one data entry for Perl. So the only way we can catch if there is any bad data or any errors is for us to actually run that WIPS report. And so if there are any last computed WIPS errors, we're going to check them here so you never submit to WIPS a report that has any errors. So when I know I've got some errors here for demo purposes today, and I'm going to say yes, ignore the error file, but that's why we have a last validation report so you can see if you have any last errors, get those cleaned up so you never submit a file to WIPS that has any known errors. We give you the ability to include some additional fields if you want. Again, because WIPS data is great, we want to make sure you have as much of that data as possible for analytics. You can run your WIPS report for individual organizations if you're running a consortium, or for all if you're submitting this off to the feds. So I'm just going to go ahead and run this report. Open this up. And there we go. No, don't convert. And in my demo system, I've got a handful of records here. I'll make this a little bigger. And here's my header row. If you're familiar with WIPS, you know that we start with the OBS number, then get to the unique ID. We are automatically converting all the fields that are being data entered in this case management human readable field format into ones and zeros and nines and all the appropriate aliasing that is required by WIPS. This file is laid out exactly to the specification of WIPS. And if you've done this before, you know it goes out to the column EF. So there's your WIPS report. You are done with submitting your WIPS report with Prime. Additionally, we provide you a couple of other reports. I'm just going to run these real quick so you can kind of see what these additional reports look like. Now, you know that when you submit your WIPS file and there are no known errors, the feds will write you back and say, great, go ahead and validate your WIPS file. And once you do that, they send you back a QPR. We have always believed, as project managers ourselves, that you want to be able to see what your QPR is going to look like at any point in time, and certainly before you get something back from the feds. So we want to make sure that you have your QPR in advance, and you can run it whenever you want to and really stay on top of your data so that, project management 101, right? Eliminate surprises. You know exactly what the feds are going to send you back before you ever send your WIPS file to them. So we document this. It's organized with a look and feel exactly with the QPR coming back from the feds. If our numbers should absolutely match their numbers, vice versa. If there's ever a difference, we want to be the first people you contact and let us know if there's any differences. So here's your QPR. In addition to just producing the QPR for you so you can make sure you're staying on top of it, we also give you a tab that just defines what's going into each one of these reportable items in the QPR. This is really just taking Perl data and making it available to you at your fingertips so it's easier to work with this data. But it also provides for you the definitions of how each one of these reportable items is being computed. Lastly, here I want to show you the H1, the real-time performance outcome measures report for SCC, all organizations, 2024, Q4. For SCC, there are 4 documented, if I can use that word, performance outcome measures that you likely put into your proposals that you said you were going to match for each grant year. And so we provide you with an ability to document what you project. I'll make this a little bigger. What you're projecting for each one of these outcome measures compared to your actual numbers. So this report is computing projected versus actuals, what's actually in your data for these core or these 4 primary outcome measures. I want to take a quick look at queries just to be sensitive to time. I'm going to go ahead and just run one of these queries so you can see what these look like. I'll just go ahead and run the all participant profile data. It just dumps out all the data as a CSV file. Just want you to see how easy this is for you to access all of your data whenever you want to. It takes every field from the form and spits it out into a CSV file for you to do your own analytics, for you to utilize this query with a third-party reporting tool. If you prefer, to build your own pivot tables in Excel, or you have a favorite third-party tool for Power BI or Tableau or Crystal reports, whatever it might be, we want to make sure you have access to all of your data in easy format.
Susan, this actually does a good job of showcasing the human readable data measure or data elements on that that users would interface with, and then the aliasing values, the ones and the zeros and the nines and the matrix when it translates it into the matrix.
Exactly. We also provide you a couple of pre-built dashboards. These are really here as just sort of starter dashboards because you can build your own dashboards as well. We have parameters baked right into these reports. Again, these are just sort of some sample running against live data, but you may find these just sort of whistle wetters, if you will, for giving you the ability to provide graphical reports. We certainly see our customers using these dashboards as well as queries and building other pivot tables as graphical reports that are added to Q&Rs to really, everybody loves a picture, demonstrate even more the efficacy and transparency you are providing as you're running these grants. Our customers love these, again, included with Q&Rs, included with new proposals, looking for other funding or streams, et cetera, et cetera. So just kind of a quickie look at some of the report capabilities that we provide in this pre-built template. Let me take a jump back to the participant management module, so that case management environment. So when I click here, everything is completely web-based. All of our customers, as a quick sort of sidebar, all of our customers are hosted on Amazon Web Services. And all of our customers have their own dedicated virtualized web server within AWS. So there is no commingling of data amongst our customers. It is a single tenant environment. Very important thing to take notes on if you're writing notes. All of our customers have their own IP address, their own hard-walled environment. I'm in my demo.agsprime.net. All of our customers have their own prefix to agsprime.net, so everything is secure. That we can bring the security and privacy benefits of working within the AWS environment. The other thing I want to just point out while we're here, as we're talking about data privacy, and we are dealing with PII, we have been vetted scores and scores and scores of times around PII. That as you're looking at this screen, and we can see participant data that has been entered by different staff organizations. We see staff organization 2 and staff organization 1. Excuse me. We have what is baked into the architecture, excuse me, called organization level security, so that all of your users are going to be assigned to a staff organization, so that when they log in, they are only going to see data from, in this case, staff organization 2. If I were a staff user assigned to staff organization 2 and was set up as not an administrator, if I log in and I belong to staff organization 1, I only see data from staff organization 1. So you're baked into the system is this ability to segregate data amongst your partners. If you were running a consortium where there's multiple organizations with staff users who are going to be doing data entry, organization level security is super important. Additionally, one last thing I just want to mention from a security perspective, I'm going to jump over to my little person icon and show you what the pre-built security roles are that we put into all of our pre-built templates. So you, as the application administrators, are going to be trained to manage this information and decide who amongst your staff users is going to have access to case management, that participant data, or who's going to have access to the employer management data, who amongst your users are going to be local administrators, those people who have access to all of the modules, all of the forms, and all of the data. So that's what the security kind of looks like in the application, as a very quick introduction to our multi-layered security and data privacy protocols throughout the application. Back to participant, if I look at Buddy Holly and just open up his case folder, I'm just really very quickly here for the sake of time. Everybody has seen forms and fields. These are the fields that make up the demographics that are really expected and required in many cases for this grant. A quick example of built-in business logic. If I say if this person has said they're unemployed, they cannot also, they can, or rather not in labor force, they can be they cannot be underemployed. If I say I'm employed, I cannot be long-term unemployed. I can be underemployed, but I cannot be notice of employment and have certain other attributes selected. So we have this baked-in business logic throughout the process. You can add additional fields to the process if you want to make sure you have cell phones, if you want to do texting or having a mass email campaign, get emails. So you can add other fields outside of this business process as well. We're going to keep track of the training programs, measurable skills gains. We're going to keep track of services, again, based on the information that is required and expected by this grant. All of these values where you see pink asterisks are the fields that are expected for Prime that we will include for WIPS reporting. So the case management, this electronic case folder for this participant, we can keep track of multiple skills gains, multiple credentials, lots of services, their employment, case notes, and participant attachments. Very similar architecture for the employer management module, where we're going to keep track of our employers, their activities and contacts. This very much this CRM for SCC, keeping track of employer profiles and contacts and all those sorts of things. Self-registration is really designed to provide you with this essentially the same fields from the staff-focused profile, but make this available to your potential participants. And that can include document attachments, consent signature, and a consent block. You would be adding text here for definitions of the grant and consent language. All of that feeds into your consolidated case management environment to support that workflow. That is a real jog through what the application looks like and allowing me to touch a little bit on some of the security pieces. I'm going to switch back over to our slide deck. And John, if you want to talk a little bit about value proposition.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anybody has any questions along the way here, again, feel free to enter those into the chat. And we should have a couple minutes at the end as well to answer some specific questions. And then we'll put our contact information up again. But obviously, like Susan showed, the real premise of the tool, or the benefit, one of the main benefits of the tool is the simplicity of the WIPS reporting. The challenge of collating all of those different data metrics that are required and translating them into the various aliasing, combining those into computed fields and whatnot is a very laborious process. And as you can see here, the simplicity of it is that the data are collected in human readable forms and words that people understand instead of ones and zeros and nines and 12s and whatnot. And then the system automatically translates all of that, converts it into the right aliasing and puts it into the order that is required by WIPS. And you just have to pick the quarter, and pick the time frame that you want to submit for, and the system will automatically run a report with just a simple click. So that's one of the biggest value propositions there. Another one is that for all of the grant templates that we support, like this SEC system that you're looking at, we monitor for any federal reporting change, any changes to the federal reporting requirements. So we keep track of the Tegels and whatnot, and anytime a change happens, we make those changes on the back end of the system so that the reporting the reports that are built into your system that you're using are always going to be in compliance with what is expected from DOL. The very, very quick deployment for these systems. Once we have a signed contract in place for a subscription to one of our templates, we can have that up and running in about three business days, or less in some cases. And that's a live system specific to your organization, to where as soon as we send you the email that it's live, you can literally start entering data that second. So they're live and ready for you to begin your onboarding and training within like 3 days or less. With a subscription to Prime or one of our templates, you also get access to us. So, our team of developers and subject matter experts on all things Perl and WIPS reporting and grants, and just general data management and the tools themselves, obviously. You have unlimited and unmetered training and support from AGS staff for the life of your agreement with us, for the life of your subscription. As well as all of the online documentation that comes with any one of these tools that we have. You have access to video tutorials and written documentation and screenshots and whole training walkthroughs and whatnot of all the various things that you can do within the tools. And the biggest, one of the biggest ones, I guess, not the biggest one, probably the WIPS is probably the biggest one, but another really big one is the simplicity at which you can make modifications to the system. It's a completely no-code web-based system. So, let's say that you're sitting in a board meeting and it's decided that during that meeting that we have to collect eye color from her. We have to start tracking eye color. Well, literally while you're sitting in the meeting, you can go to your administrative portal. You can go to that data set. You can click a button, click add data element, and you can add eye color, hit save, and then go back over to the form, drag it on the form, and now it's live in the system, and a data set that everybody can be collecting. You don't have to submit a ticket and wait for development staff to go in and make that change, and then a week later they didn't spell an eye color right, something like that. It's everything's live right there on the tool, and you'll be trained on how easy it is to make changes and whatnot. So for next steps, obviously this was a very quick run through of the application. We are gonna, like I said, we're gonna provide our contact information again. So if any questions crop up, or you're shy and you don't want to ask questions here on the fly, or you want to take a little bit more time and dive into some of the specifics, we would be more than happy to schedule a meeting with you and your team to kind of do a one-on-one deep dive with the specifics of your questions and your project and your situation, etc. So more than happy to do that for you all. Just let us know if that's something that you want to do. And then in terms of the sales process, if you like what you see after the demos, then we would we would send you a price quote. We would send you a draft agreement to review the terms of the subscription. And once we have a signed agreement, like I said, within 3 days, your system would be deployed, and we would start scheduling your training and onboarding. So it's a very, very quick process. Once you've made the decision to subscribe to the tools, we want to get you in the tools and get your mind off of the beast that is data collection and management, and let you focus on serving the students and the participants that you're there to work with, and let us manage the heavy lift of the data.
Exactly. We buy software too, so it's a one-page order form. We want to keep it simple. For sure. Um, thanks for that, John. That I hope those sort of next steps make sense to everybody. I know this was a super fast run through. Hopefully, it kind of wets the whistle a little bit. And as promised, here's our contact information. John, I put you first. I recall, John. John's great. I'm kidding. Yeah. So here's our information for sure. We definitely ran through this quickly. There are a couple of minutes if anybody has any questions. You can certainly unmute yourself or text into chat if you prefer. And if go ahead, and if not, we will go ahead and email out this recording. The handout that was available as in the GoTo Training Control Panel will also be emailed out, and this will come out as a link, a YouTube video link to everybody. So if no one has any questions, thank you all very, very much for being here. We really appreciate you taking time from your busy schedules to be here. Congratulations on your grant. I know it's not trivial. Um, so look forward to hopefully talking with you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, thank you.